Good morning, traders. Manny Cabrera here, founder of NDC Trading Academy, with today's pre-market forecast for Wednesday, May the 26th. We're also going to do a quick recap of what we had so far this week. Let's quickly jump to our news items this week. And as we can see, today being Wednesday, we have at 10:30 crude oil inventories at 10:30. And obviously, the rest of the week we close with the prelim GDP. This is going to be a really important number, so keep your eyes open for that one. Also, the unemployment claims and eventually pending home sales, PCE price index, and the Chicago PMI on Friday. We close the week. Remember, this is a holiday weekend as Monday is Memorial Day. What's happening with the market in general? As we can see from our daily chart, the market is above the 20 SMA, really key moving average on this particular market. Remember, the slower the market becomes, the more volatile the market becomes, the more important these indicators become. These are bellwether indicators. 50, the 80, the 200, these are absolutely incredible. Now, obviously, the higher the number, for example, the 200, the more important it is. The lesser the number, the less important it is. But when you have averages like the 20 and the 50, and you see markets respecting these two areas, this gives investors confidence because we're expecting the market to continue in the original intended direction, which is to the upside. See if we head towards our 42, 38, 25 all-time record, which we established way back when here May 10th. Now, that's what's happening here. Volume has been low. Selling may stay away. But one of the things that's keeping this market continually up, remember, this is all inflation fears, right? This is all inflation fears, a lot of inflation fears. Federal Reserve is saying, hey, listen, we're just going to keep supporting the market with our monetary policy. The inflation fears are not as much as important as we expected. So market investors are pretty much seeing this. Now, they're looking for bargains. There's a lot of stocks that are still at their near their all-time high. So there isn't too many bargains out there. So people are just holding out to their position to see what happens next. So you're going to see a lot of flat movement for a while. Now remember, we've been in this channel here. We only had two breaks here, which the 12th and 13th of May, when we broke out of this particular price range here. But we're right back into this price range here. So you can start seeing a lot of the similarities in volume and in movement and in range going forward. So this is the way it's going to be for a while. And remember, we're going to get into that summer doldrums. Unless something exciting happens, I think our June and July are going to be pretty flat for the most part. So this is a fair warning to those who are expecting a lot of volatility. Unless something major happens, I think we're just going to have pretty much of a sideways market. Now, are we going to be getting a lot of good economic reports? I believe we are. I think for the next several months we are, simply because this economy is just reopening. We're not starting from zero in reference to a back economic time. The market is basically, we're reopening the economy, and the more states and cities and counties start to open up and start to, they start to free people up from the COVID, the shadow of COVID, I think you're going to see a huge economic impact on America. Now, the policies from Washington and the conflicts with the tax code, that may be an issue, but we'll see what happens going forward. Let's look a little bit closer behind these numbers. And the market is following very, very predictable patterns. We talked about this double top when we opened up the week, remember? And we came back to the double top. Here was our test on Friday. Clearly broke above it. And we talked about potentially retracing back here to using this original double top resistance as support. And there it is, folks. There is the move right there. Of course, we talked also about headwinds, resistance headwinds. A lot of these areas the price just reacted are the same areas the market is reacting now. So nothing is different. Now we do have this trend line which is forming up here. So I'm gonna use this as our north-south line for now. In other words, this is where our market is going to be deciding for the next several days or maybe day, as the market finds solid resistance on this trend line, and anything that happens to the upside is going to happen potentially from this area here. Now, can the market break below this area and move lower? Yes. I don't see a really good reason for that happening now. I'm not seeing any major sell-offs or anything like that, but it can happen. But we always have to keep an eye on both sides of the market. You have to look at the long side. You have to also look at the short end of the market. Let's look a little bit more behind, closer to what I call our analysis chart, which is exactly our chart that we use to trade with. This is the intraday high or intraday low. See how the market set up the late intraday low of the day, bounces off it, finds resistance, that was there from earlier this morning, something that we established yesterday at about 10 in the morning. Market pretty much went sideways there for a while, broke out of this trend line. Here's the market once again. Have a trend line here, market coming down to retest this trend line. So basically, here's where we are. Here's today's movement right now. Anything that's going to happen to the upside has to happen above this area here. Okay, anything that remains here, we can see this market is going to be bouncing between areas. Okay, now, can the market break free and just move lower? Yes, it can. Absolutely can. And absolutely can. Is that likelihood? Is that likely? I don't know. I'm thinking more to the upside today, particularly we clear this trend line, this resistance area here, and run up here. The tests, clear tests are going to be here. So these are our tests right here. This is our support. This is our resistance. Market breaking above this, you can expect a nice little run. Market breaking below this, you can expect another little run. And in here, you just got to sit and wait. Basically, sit and wait. Guys, don't forget to place your stops. Don't be greedy with this market. Don't force it. It's not going to play the way you think it is. Take care. Have a great session.